Unreal. Unreal. Got to bring in my experts. Joining me tonight in Los Angeles, California, forensic psychiatrist, trial expert witness, and columnist of Inside the Criminal Mind, Dr. Carole Lieberman. This is blowing my mind. These text messages. I'll start with you, Dr. Carole Lieberman. I want your gut reaction to what we just heard.
She is sadistic, and that is torture. She was getting great pleasure out of torturing him. You know, the more we see and hear from her, the more it's apparent that not only, you know, in intimate partner violence, domestic violence, there are various components to the violence. Part of it comes from that person's childhood, what kind of trauma they had, what kind of abuse they had, and part of it comes from the relationship. Well, it is becoming clearer that with Courtney, I think the largest part of all of this violence, all of this aggression, these temper tantrums, basically these are sadistic temper tantrums that she's having, comes from a very traumatic, very, I mean, I'm not giving her any excuses by any means, but it's just the more we see of her and how sadistic she is and how primitive she is in terms of being like a 4-year-old having these temper tantrums, but really injuring, you know, and killing Christian. And it's deeper, in other words, than that they're just arguing over whatever the superficial argument of the moment is.
Back in January of 2021 to Vegas, and during that trip, Courtney actually got arrested for domestic violence. Like the security from the hotel, the Cosmo, had both of them together. They thought it was mutual or whatever, investigation. She gets arrested, charged. She's throwing glasses at him, like, you know, like, oh, Amber Heard was throwing at Johnny Depp. Same thing. But then the stuff with the knife, what is this about? Dr. Carole Lieberman, Dr. Jenny Lacey still with me tonight. Would we call her a serial abuser? What do you call her, Dr. Carole Lieberman?
Well, I would not be surprised if in the investigation they don't find, or that they do find, you know, other boyfriends that she has acted out on like that. You know, one of the things is it's so interesting that he had the foresight to secretly record her when she was doing some of these things and saying some of these things. And,
yes,
you know, so part of him really was aware that this could end very dangerously, or, you know, that he was going to maybe need evidence and prove this in court. And yes, is love going to kill me? And yet he continued. You have to wonder, because that is kind of the reversal too. You have to wonder why he stayed in the relationship. Yes, she was beautiful. Yes, she was, you know, popular on the internet and so on. Clearly he had very low self-esteem, that he needed this, that he was willing to suffer through this, you know, just to have the positive parts of it or the glamorous parts of it. Perhaps also he didn't want viewers, you know, from OnlyFans to think if he disappeared from their videos and so on, that she rejected him, like a public rejection. You know, it's unfortunate he's not around to dig into his mind a little bit more, but it's just really sad since he was somewhat aware of how it was going to end.
Dr. Carole Lieberman, do we have any idea on what the numbers might be where domestic violence is woman abusing man versus man abusing woman?
Well, it's hard to know the numbers because men don't report it as much as women do. Men are embarrassed to admit that they're in a relationship where their woman is being abusive. So we don't really have good numbers for that. But, you know, Johnny Depp, looking at this, if he's been following this story, you know, he must be feeling very happy that he got out of the relationship when he did. This is like Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, you know, this is their relationship on steroids. I mean, not literally steroids, but I mean, this is taking it to obviously
she's a bodybuilder, so it could literally be. It could literally be.
It is very, very this is happening more often in society than people want to admit or want to acknowledge. And what's really sad here too is how many people saw, the various things you've been talking about tonight. How many people in Texas, in Las Vegas, in Miami, they saw that this was building, and yet people didn't really do anything to separate them.
Dr. Carole Lieberman, Dr. Janie Lacey, great to have you on the show. Great insight. We'll talk again really soon.